Adam Harris here. It is now Sunday the 8th of November and I'm having a look at the major currencies, starting off with the dollar index. And what I want to just reiterate is that I had been waiting for price to kind of head back, tap 95 into this area. I've removed the little blue box that I had there and then continue to head lower. So over the last week, and I'm very impressed, I have to say, I'm very impressed with how the reaction, how the markets coped with the potential for volatility. They actually, the markets were incredibly stable compared to, say, Brexit. So I'm very, very impressed, and again, I'm noting that for the future. I think effectively now the market is keen to get back to, I guess, doing what it's doing, and so it's kind of going to be forward looking. And really, I just want to note the week's fully bearish candle back down to this level, kind of towards 92, and so the likelihood of it now potentially pushing through that 92 and heading on lower is much higher. So we've got that kind of lower high, or sort of not a very picturesque one, but the momentum leans towards price now heading down towards 90. Okay, so it's going to have to work its way through 92, and so this week I'll be looking for that to be the case. I think it's reasonable to expect that it's had a big move down. There might be a bit of a bounce, so then perhaps back up to 92.50, and then ultimately starting to work its way down through that. And so will it make it through by over the next 5 days or the next week? That remains to be seen. But this is the direction in which I'm likely expecting it to do that, with potentially with perhaps another little bit of a bounce off this 92 level. So that means that I'm predominantly bearish on that US dollar. Then having a look at the euro dollar version of that, euro dollar has been largely range bound within this kind of orange box that I did a couple of weeks ago. And I'm expecting it to attempt to break out and continue up to 1.2 then based off that. I really still would have liked for it to come back down to test that 1.15 level, but I don't think it's actually going to go do that now. It hasn't even really connected with a 382 retracement. So that would have been, again, also would have been very nice, but you can see there's a recognition of that support there at 1.16. I think it's going to attempt to push on, and if we get that weaker dollar, it's going to help it do that. So it's reasonable, I think, to expect it to continue up towards 1.12 this week. And so looking to see a stronger euro. Now we've got kind of a no clear trend on the GBP, but still looking more bullish than bearish, and so also again price action here looking like it wants to continue to head up. It's got a little bit of a barrier that it has to get through at 1.32, but then I think it's going to continue on upwards. All right, so it's produced a series of higher lows here. That's going to be interesting to see that head back up towards the top of the range. So stronger cable, stronger euro dollar, Aussie dollar having very cleanly retraced back down to this level at 0.7, and then produced a swing low on the monthly level, but crisp, very nice in advance. No clear trend here just yet. Potentially about to reintroduce a new trend, but certainly on its way. Looks more likely to head up towards 0.73 and 0.735. So again, supporting that idea of a strong Aussie dollar. And we've got Kiwi dollar here up against resistance. Okay, so multiple levels here. But overall, the flow is to the upside. It's got definite recognizable sort of clear technical resistance there, close at 0.6775. But I've marked that level towards 6.8, and so that's when I want to see it push on through and do that. We have broken the longer term downtrend. We've broken these previous highs, so this long term downtrend is now no longer in play, and it's just bumping its head up against that 50-day moving average. So I want to see if it can get over that. If it could do that, it's going to start to head its way up towards, or at least a lot higher, but certainly reasonably then up towards 0.69 and 0.7. Dollar yen has now creeped and broken out below that 104.50 level, 104 region, and started to head down lower. So for me, what I want to see happen this week is, although I consider it still largely range bound, I would like to see it ultimately head on down to 101. And that also supports the idea of a weaker US dollar. But it's interesting to see dollar yen now breaking out of a range that it actually has been in for close on 4 years. I find that interesting as well. Dollar Swissy starting to break through to those lows, pushing and testing 0.9. It's a little bit overextended here. It might take a bit of a pullback into 9030 and then start to work its way through. But I like the idea of seeing that starting to break through on those levels. Now I will start to, again, as I've said this over the last couple of months, I'll keep an eye on the SMB just to see if the Bank of Japan as well as the SMB, if they start to talk about intervening, or if there's some kind of policies that they implement in order to weaken their currencies. I think they would really prefer to have their currencies up at the top of these ranges rather than near the bottom. So that could be something that comes in on the horizon. I would certainly keep my ear to the ground for those. And dollar CAD. So dollar CAD now closing relatively bearishly down to 1.3 and producing a downtrend on the daily. So the real thing for me is going to be testing these levels. So quite a few of these are coming close to key levels this week. A lot of them are going to do that. The question is how many of them are overextended and going to have rejections, or how many of them will ultimately break through on those levels. But the good news being that if they do subsequently break through those levels, they should actually start to move in a more convincing fashion. Then a trend should start to take place, which means that there could be potentially decent money-making opportunities on the horizon. So to sum up, I'm expecting and anticipating, aside from natural retracements over the next 5 days, I'm looking and anticipating or expecting a stronger US dollar, but I'm going to be watching price as they approach key levels and looking for them respectively to break through their key levels. But overall, the charts are indicating that they are strengthening against the US dollar. Have a good week, everyone.